Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media's publications, Transformer Technology, Power Systems Technology, and Women in Power Systems. We're here at the IEEE PEST&D conference in Anaheim in 2024, the 60th anniversary. These interviews are with thought leaders to be able to bring the best of the marketplace to you. My next guest is Santiago Barcon.
Hi,
I love interviewing you, because you're such a unique individual. First of all, you've got your hand in a lot of different things. Publishing, manufacturing, you're an author and future author. You've got a lot going on. Tell me a little bit about your life.
Well, I have been for some decades, almost 4 decades in the power industry, and I really enjoy what I do. Actually, we always say in Mexico that artists and bullfighters do not retire. If you are passionate on what you do, I don't have any retirement plans whatsoever. I'm working as much as when I was 20, 30, 4 years old, and I enjoy it every day. So, as you mentioned, we have Energía Hoy, that is a leading magazine in Mexico on the energy sector. Mm-hmm. We cover all the scope of energy, but of course, since I'm an electrical engineer, we lean more into electricity. Also, we have Greentology that is focused into what I will call ESG and renewable energy, everything that is friendly with the environment. Besides that, of course, the manufacturing of capacitor banks and harmonic filters, both in low, medium, and high voltage. We just recently got an order for 3 big banks in 230 kV. That is kind of the the grail in the industry. So we are very, very happy from what we are doing in the manufacturing sector. And last but not least, finally, is already in the print press my next book. The first one was very technical, power quality, harmonics, and power factor correction. Yeah. This one is more focused into the youngsters and not so young that they have not followed what I consider the best path in engineering. Okay. So it's called How to Be a Good Engineer, 10 Commandments and 100 Advices to Achieve It. It's a short book, about 180 pages. Yeah. Because it's, as I mentioned, it's focused to youngsters that they don't read that much, but there are these small bits of advice. And as an example, when you are out of college, go to a place where you're going to learn. Right. Not that they will pay you 5% more. No? If your boss is not intelligent, resign. You're not going to change him, and he might make you stupid and lazy, or both. That will be worse. And so I think it's going to be a very good guide for people. I already sold a number of books, so I'm quite happy with it. Even if it's not printed, people already order it to give it to youngsters and people inside of their company. It'd be digital and print? Digital and print. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get a copy. I want a print copy. Yes, you will. You will. All right, good. And besides that, once that it's finished, we will translate it to English. Excellent. So I think that there's nothing like that. When I had the idea, I said, well, before I started to discover the lukewarm water, I'm going to look in. So I Google it, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everything. I couldn't find it. And there's a lot of books on how to study engineering, but not practical advice for ones that you are out of college. Primarily electrical or just any engineering? Well, actually, I'm going to tell you a little secret. It started as an electrical engineer. Then I discovered that we are only 80,000 in Mexico. Okay. Over 2 million engineers. So I said, electrical goes out without any problem. So it's going to be, of course, I mentioned in the prologue that because I'm an electrical engineer, we have a focus on electrical engineering. So examples, but I try to cover all the areas of engineering. Which is civil the biggest, mechanical the biggest? No, what we call industrial, that is process. Okay. Industrial is like 400,000, but what is nice, and it's one of the 100 advices, and it's focused into the women's sector. Chemical engineering and environmental engineering, now there are more even graduated women than men.
I have to do this. I have to do this.
Yes.
Women in power
Yes,
systems,
yes.
right? Yeah, you're
It's
exactly
still,
right.
it's only 9%, but it's
Yeah.
growing
Yeah,
in the
excellent.
power sector.
Okay.
But little by little, all the STEM or STEM, it's starting to pay off.
You know why I like interviewing you? Because you said something earlier that I have to go back to now.
Yeah.
Power quality, because of all of the renewables, because renewables create transients, harmonics, and now we're seeing all that, and you fix that, okay? That your company fixes all of these problems that are out there because talk a little bit about the problem with power quality.
Well, I'm going to give you some figures from the Electric Power Research Institute.
Okay.
Bad power quality costs the U.S. economy $188 billion per year.
With a B.
With a B.
Oh.
And the total invoicing or the consumption of electricity is around 600 billion.
Okay.
Of course, this is not just the energy that is not supplied. It's when you have a sag and this equipment stops, you need to process everything out.
Right.
So it's, but more important, 80% of the problems are inside of the consumer. It's not in the grid. And Leonardo Energy, that will be the equivalent of in Europe of the EPRI, finds about the same figures: 160 billion euros, the cost to the European Community economy, plus 80%, and 80% is inside of the consumer. I know that everyone believes, no, it's not my case. No, everything comes from the utility, but it's not true.
You know, the more robotics that we place into manufacturing, manufacturing 4.0, the more robotics we place into it, the more susceptible they are to power quality issues. Because, you know, the robots that weld the cars, if one robot, it's got a transformer right at the foot there, if it, and it doesn't do it, it leaks, right? The car has to be...
Actually, with one of the three big U.S. manufacturers in one of the plants in Mexico, they had a lot of power quality. That's about 15 years ago they installed, or 20 years ago they installed the first robot, and because of power quality, it committed harakiri because it did not program. Of course, they did not laugh, but I think that it was great. I think that it was great.
That's why you're not saying the name of the company. Because
yes, that's why I'm not saying the name of the company.
A robot that committed harakiri. That's great. So and that's one of your companies. That's what you manufacture.
Yes. And of course, it's going to keep on growing. All these renewable entrants, everything is becoming electrical driven. And there's more harmonics because there are more inverters. Even, you know, now air conditioning mini splits and refrigerators, they are inverter based to save energy. And of course, the byproduct is harmonics. So we will be there to help.
And green energy, wind and solar, create or allow. I mean, it's the inverter-based system.
Yes, it's inverter-based system.
It allows for more, and I don't think we fully. The more we grow green, the more problems that we create.
And that's why now some inverters are what they call grid forming. There are going to be some talks on grid forming, so they can follow. And I really like. I don't know if you attend the opening session with the Nobel Prize. You know, engineers, we eventually solve everything. So no, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. So people worry about, but we will find a solution. We will find a solution.
What engineers are, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I think there's an advertising in the United States for the Marines, the United States Marines, and it says, we run to the trouble. The Marines run to the trouble when everybody else runs away. Engineers run to the problem because we solve problems. So we don't run from problems, right? Yeah.
Actually, in the book, I mentioned that we need to control that urge because that creates a bad economic situation for most of the engineers. We give too much free advice, no? Because we like to solve things. And doctors and lawyers, they just keep it to themselves. No, we need to learn from these guys. No.
Yeah, we only charge for it. Yeah, if you give it, if you ask, we'll give it, but you charge for it. Let's move from manufacturing. I want to move back into publishing.
Yes.
You've got a bent towards it, but talk about your publishing, particular Energy Hoy. I've read it. We get it. We are going to do a mutual. As soon as we get this done, we'll do an MOU where once an issue, we will publish one of your articles. We'll transcribe and publish, and then we will provide one to you to transcribe and publish. But talk about how you got into that. Did you just like wake up and decide you were bored?
I went into the office of the energy, the energy savings government bureau, and I saw Energía Hoy #2. So I found the publisher. I always liked to write, and she was happy to give me my column, so I started to write. Eventually, this Energía Hoy was the smallest publication. This editor only has another one that was the largest circulation magazine. It was a Sunday magazine of 3 newspapers plus another 800,000 prints per week. And so I became a good friend of the president of the company, and eventually he invited me to write about wine in this very important magazine. My life got good because I went everywhere, and I got free entrance and the best wines.
But eventually, on wine.
Yeah. And eventually, one of the partners, there were 3 newspapers, one of the partners decided to start his own Sunday magazine on the back of the partner. So you can imagine. So I sat down with the president of the company, that he was a minority partner. He told me the history, and we were over lunch, and he told me, if you don't buy it today, I'm going to close it down. I'm not going to be shopping around.
Oh, wow.
So, and of course, I didn't know anything about the business, but I liked the magazine. So I bought it, and the price was very cheap. I knew that I was going to lose money.
Yeah.
No? So, but either way, it's a way to contribute to the sector, to the energy sector in Mexico. So since that day, we have been very, very open. You know, we have people from left wing, right wing, people that is for renewables, people that does not believe in renewables, and I think that creates a good environment of exchange of ideas.
Yeah, we started power systems technology. So we did transformer, then we did the power systems technology, because of the very thing. Transformers, they're sold out. Everybody can't get transformers, but there's so much that's happening in the whole industry. Some of it's technology, but a lot of it's not. A lot of it is the business of power. And we just interviewed Damir Novosel, and he did one of the talks up there. And you know, Damir is a student of the industry. Mm-hmm. He really understands the industry, Quanta and everything that they're doing. But the thing that I got, it's almost like it's new again. So this book that you're doing for young engineers, it's new again. And we need to attract a lot of people. We need not, because I imagine in your production facilities, getting good quality labor and keeping them is important, right?
Yeah.
The same is true, getting good quality engineers and keeping them, right?
Yes, and it's becoming a challenge because pandemics put a problem. It was a problem, especially for students. You know, you did not get any labs, you did not get out to see substations or machines working. So I thought that they will need a lot of help to recover, to become good engineers.
The biggest issue that we're dealing with right now in the power industry, obviously, is change.
Yeah.
Right? In the United States, a lot of government money is supporting the growth of renewables, but we have an election this year. And if that election changes, then one of them may be more oil-based, you know, he may not be green-based. And when you fit and start, when the government funds something and then it pulls back, it creates chaos in the industry because people invest billions of dollars in the future, and without consistent policies, it's hard to plan. Companies have a hard time planning.
Yeah.
Same in Mexico?
Same in Mexico, but I think that a problem is what it was again in this opening session, the polarization. It's not that you can live without oil. We still need oil,
Yes,
but
right.
you need more renewables. But if you take these positions that oil is killing us, when everyone is driving a car and flying on an airplane,
Yeah.
and I think that doesn't create a long-term planning scenario. So you have these swings that you are mentioning, depending on who's the president, on who sets the policy. And I think that we need it's a 40-year path. I read a nice article about that we need to think about Gothic cathedrals. It takes 200 years to build. The renewable world is not going to be in the next 30 years or 40 years. It will take longer than that. But if you don't think like this, we're going to build a cathedral, it's not going to happen. I think that's a good analogy.
The one in Barcelona is supposed to be started in the 1600s, supposed to be finished next year. In Barcelona.
I don't think that they will finish it. But,
they say they will.
La Santa Familia.
Yeah. It's incredible. That's a great way of looking at it. I like the ones that the fifth generation of worker is still working on the cathedral.
Yeah.
That's generational thinking.
Yes, and that's why we need to change the whole matrix of energy.
Yeah. So greentology, I get it, and I transcribe some of it and read some of it. There's a certain theme around greentology. All right. Did you kind of say to the people that publish that, this is the thematic approach, or is that really coming from some publisher that I don't know yet?
Well, I think that it comes a lot from the idea. Most of the group, they are youngsters, so they are very much into these ideas. So they basically manage on their own. We give them ideas, or of course now it's plenty of information
So the thing that you just said about the oil and the green, they have to work together. How do you teach those young people to, hey, you need to take a long-term approach to this, or you?
Yeah, actually, what I tell them is, I said, unfortunately, you're not going to see it. So that faces them, and I give them examples like, 1 kilogram of gasoline has as much energy as 140 kilograms of lithium batteries.
Yeah.
So how an airplane is going to fly? And hydrogen still is a long way to go. And we remember Zeppelin. Remember the.
Oh yeah.
Remember
the
what
humanity
happened.
of it.
So that forces them to think on alternatives. So because I don't believe that it's going to happen overnight.
The story of hydrogen is the future, and it always will be.
Like Brazil is the country of the future and always will be.
It always will be. Talk to me about IEEE. I think I met you the first time was at an IEEE event, wasn't it?
In New Orleans, yes, correct.
New Orleans. Talk to me about how the value of IEEE and Seagrain, because
and I'm going back to my book.
Okay.
Several times in different advices, I tell them, you have to belong.
Okay.
IEEE, Seagrain, the mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, you have to be part of your blood. And actually, first commandment is you will love your profession more than anything else in your working life. Because if you don't love your profession, you are unfortunately, you're never going to be happy. If you are just doing that for money, it's a complete waste of your life. So if you belong, then you learn, you listen, you find new technologies. Actually, I was going with one customer that I consult, and we were chatting about the book, and said, so engineers do not study, and they get out of college and they don't study? I said, yes, you're right. I said, I don't believe that. I said, well, he's a financial guy. I said, you do that because every year the government changes the tax rules and you need to study again. But the electricity rules do not change.
Yeah, that's true.
So either way, we were visiting the factory. They have a big amount of motors that they will be like 40, 45 years old. And I told them respectfully, well, will you consider energy efficiency motors? That will probably save a lot of money. I was very, very polite, not very common on me, but either way. And they said, no, we tried that and they do not work. And I said, when? Well, back in 1994. So that gives you an idea that they don't, if you don't receive magazines that they talk about how the efficiency of the motors is going up, you will believe, you will stay with this, and I don't believe that it was right, the conclusion, even in that, because the motors should be a lot more efficient. But either way, if you don't keep studying and getting inputs of change, you do not change.
I used to get, it was Mechanics Today as a boy, right?
Yeah.
And I was always interested. We were going to have flying cars. We were going to have all these things here. And then I went into mechanical engineering. And in mechanical engineering, it's the same way. Nothing, that's the whole point about motors. Mechanical engineers like motors. We love motors. But until you get to the point that you're looking at not the motor, but how the motor's used, what's the problem, what's the solution that you're trying to do, you'll get stuck in the motor. And that's any profession. You get stuck in this, you don't look at what's coming down the road. So you're a manufacturer, you're a publisher, because you're a publisher, you're not an editor, you don't do any of the editing, you're publishing. You're an author. What's next?
Well, I think that what I would like to do is, we also have a company called Instituto EH from Energía Hoy that we train in energy, mostly in electricity. And of course I love teaching, and I think that's a good way of retirement, to keep on teaching and being close to people, so you can pass all this knowledge that we have accumulated over the years. So I don't see myself retiring, but I don't see working at 88 from 8 to 5. But I will be more than happy to be teaching and sharing knowledge with the people and experience.
So have you done a good job with succession in each of your businesses?
Yes, actually, my son, there's a saying in Spanish that said that el pan ajeno hace al hijo bueno. That means bread of other table makes your son good. He has his own business, but now he's helping me out, and we're planning the succession. But I think that is very important, that it's not always in the dad's company.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So, Santiago, I always love interviewing you. You're my Renaissance man of the power industry, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan. Okay. Pleasure.